Knowing that I got pregnant later in life, which many, many women do now, and they often use this term like geriatric or advanced maternal age, these lovely terms that make us all feel great. But ultimately, you know, you can continue to have babies post 40. I knew that if I wanted to have 3, I wanted to try to not be pregnant so far beyond 40. And so my kids are 18 months apart, which some people tell me is worse than twins because they're like just off one another. Now they're at a great age where they play together and they're getting a lot easier, but certainly in those early months when you have an 18-month-old he's still a baby. Like he doesn't really know what's going on. I remember we brought home Nate, and he like looked at my husband and he looked at me and like put the thumb in the mouth and like, you know, turned over like, what did you just do? Like, who is this guy next to me? So now they're thick as thieves, but yeah, that was a tough time, and so it was really helpful to be able to come here, you know, and get that support.
Yes.
So yeah, boy mom, definitely my favorite title. Ultimately, you know, I love people. I find them so fascinating. You really can't, no two are the same.
Yes.
And they're unpredictable. I always say most unpredictable species on planet Earth. So for me, it keeps me going. It keeps me very alive, and I'm just, for some reason, very motivated to see people grow into better versions of themselves, things they never knew they could do.
Yes.
You know, and if I can be just a conduit to that, then I've done my job in life. So.
And I've experienced that firsthand with our son Connor. And Connor's first job was in the restaurant business. He was part of the wait staff of the restaurant group you were working for. And I didn't realize that there were so many different components to working in, running a restaurant, and you were there for him the whole time.
Oh, yes.
You know, he's very sensitive, he's very good with people, and so ultimately the restaurant business was great for him, his development, you know, his personality development, but you have to deal with the patrons of the restaurant, you have to deal with the wait staff, you have to deal with the management, you have to carry food. It's hard on the body, it's hard on the brain, it's late hours.
Yep.
And so I just want to take an opportunity to thank you because you're really part of how he's become who he is.
Yes.
And he now works here, and so he's dealing with patients and he's making appointments and he's scheduling, and I think a lot of that is really comes from that initial introduction to business and service.
And you can see it now with Connor working here, you know, the way that he speaks to people, you know, his demeanor, his manner with bringing the patients back and getting to know them. You know, we're really lucky with WIS to be so close by that even some of our staff comes over here for their wellness, which is fabulous. And so as soon as Connor will see someone from WIS, I could tell that he's engaging them, he's taking that little bit of extra care, but he did the same in the hospitality business. And so it's not for everyone, the hospitality business, that's for sure. But for me, when I'm interviewing and hiring people, if I see that customer service on the resume, it's a no-brainer. Like immediately I'm asking about that. I want to know more. It doesn't have to be a fine dining restaurant or upscale hotel, you know, even diners, you know, some of the mom and pop shops, Morristown's got amazing, you know, restaurants here. And so as soon as you see somebody great in those stores, I'm immediately talking to them because you know that they've had to deal with, you know, in customer service, maybe difficult patrons, to what you were saying before, you know, perhaps difficult management, understaffing. I remember getting started in the business, and one of my early mentors, you know, explained to me, I think the first restaurants were in France. They were soup shops, bouillon, right? And so how do you feel better, right? When you're sick, what do we all do? Get that chicken noodle soup, get that soup, right? And so really the thought behind restaurants is to restore. It's to restore through nourishment, it's to restore through conversation. You know, that was Connor's, you know, probably best attribute when he was working behind the bar, being able to converse with anybody.
Probably talking too much.
Probably talking too much.
People eat.
right, go away, that's enough.
Yes.
But that ability to do that for a job, like it never felt like work to me. And you get to be a part of people's, you know, weddings and anniversaries and babies, and so you kind of become involved in their lives. It's a very intimate experience. Yeah, oh, definitely. And then with this, you know, the people working there as well, it definitely becomes family. And it was hard. I started my career in Southern California.
Well, you went to Penn State,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yep. So you went to Penn State, and you minored in Spanish, which you have to have Spanish if you're working in the hospitality industry.
That's right. That's right.
That was brilliant.
I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur of sorts. I think in some fashion I fell into the restaurant business. Oddly enough, I think because, and I found Penn State through a guy that I liked working in a restaurant. So that's why I went. I was like, well, if you go there, I'm going to go there too.
Right.
But yeah, Penn State was amazing. My dad gave me great advice not to just major in restaurants and hospitality.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to business school. If you're going to Penn State, you're going to Smeal. So that's what I did, and thankfully I did, because it's allowed me to navigate away from hospitality, despite loving the business so much. To have a husband and children, it's very difficult. They're 10 to 12 hour days. You're working 5 to 6 days a week.
It's hard work.
It's very difficult, and I think people don't take that into consideration enough when they're dining out, to really be nice to the people working there, because they're on their feet all day and they're putting up with a lot. It's very hot in those kitchens. There are some kitchens that can reach over 100 degrees in the summertime when you've got ovens going. So really just taking care of the people, super, super important. But yeah, I knew I wanted to work in hospitality, and the Spanish just made sense.
Yeah.
My background, I'm actually Colombian, Irish, French, and German. And so despite my Irish heritage being more celebrated in my family, I always was really drawn to the Colombian heritage and the language and the food. And so
you got to celebrate all your different parts.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yes,
And
yes.
my grandfather was born in Colombia, and he, when he got a little bit older, he had Alzheimer's, and he would switch back and forth between English and Spanish when I was a kid. And so I think I just developed a bit of an ear for it, and just kind of wanted to keep that as part of my heritage as well.
So Penn State, California, Mexico, and then you end up back in New Jersey. New Jersey seems to reel you back in.
Yes.
You know, you can try and leave. Like I've lived all over, and then it reeled me right back in. So.
I love New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey is a great
You know?
state. We have a little bit of everything.
Yes, I grew up right over the Driscoll Bridge in Middlesex County. My mom and dad still live down there. And so you're 30 minutes to the shore, you're 30 minutes to Pennsylvania, you're 30 minutes to New York. It's a fabulous place to live. I was traveling for a while. I was in New Zealand hiking volcanoes and living in a van and exploring the island, trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And of course, New Jersey sucks you back, and ended up back working up here, which led me to Morristown. I worked for a realty company for a short period of time as I was getting married.
Transition, right? Between
Yeah.
and the restaurant.
Yeah, that was really my first pull out of the hospitality business. So learning a new industry, but still doing what I was doing in terms of recruiting and wellness programming. Actually, you probably don't know this, but I earned a bronze medal from the Somerset Wellness Commission for my work at the realty company, which was very exciting.
Congratulations, that's wonderful.
And yeah, that sort of just came from sort of what I do now at WIS, is bringing together local, providers of wellness, whether it's food, chiropractic, strength, red light, IV therapy, you name it. If it's gonna make me smarter, stronger, faster, I'm gonna try it.
Right.
So sign me up. And it was really nice this past year at WIS. We did a wellness expo. You were all there. We're going to do it again this year. And we bring in all of our local providers, basically to introduce them to all of the staff there, so they can see all these different opportunities to feel well and be well, in addition to introducing our benefits selections for the year. So it's really fun and allows me to get a little bit more friends in the community too, which is really nice. So, and I think you introduced me to a lot of the new friends too that were at the expo.
Yes.
I said, I have a friend here and I have a friend there, bring them in. So it's funny now with social media and just the way the world is going, I think we forget, the importance of those relationships and just getting together and being together. We learned it during COVID, the, stress on people to be apart. Right. Humans are tribal. We want to be together.
Yes.
And so you might not want to be together all the time. I'm like that sometimes too, need my alone space.
We need our own space.
But, being able to have your own tribe, whether it's, it may not be your family, it may be your community, and that's important too, so.